Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to J is for Justice. Good morning. Happy Monday. What is happening? It's good to see you guys. You enjoyed the Dateline tripper? Well, get your coffee because Mr. Ken Maines from Unsolved No More, who is a cold case detective, past undercover detective, whatever you want to call him, has responded to Dateline, actually showing his YouTube thumbnails and things. He just found out that Bryan Kohberger watched his videos. Hey, Desiree. Hey, Ange B and Melissa B. Look at, we both B's are coconut cooters. Good morning. We'll give it a couple minutes, let people come in. Hey, Bex. Good to see you guys this morning. You know, I might not be able to go live later because I have plans with my daughter and I don't know what time we're getting together. So I figured I'd go over this with coffee with you guys. Hi, Jason. I don't think he's going to plead. I don't think he'll plead guilty. I don't. That time has come and gone. I don't think there's going to be any plea deals. Hi, Sherry, baby. I just don't. This shit is happening. This trial is happening, and jury selection right around the corner. Get your coffee, Candy. You were watching the replay from last night? I know, I'm just a little streaming fool. Just a streaming fool. All right, let's get into it, guys. Here we go.
About what's going on in the news regarding Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho murders, and specifically his connection, in quotations, to Unsolved No More. So this kind of started off on Friday night, I guess, where Dateline had an episode.
Did you guys see this yet? Put a 1 if you have seen this. Hey, good morning, Sherry.
Episode of 2-hour special in Idaho murders. And during that episode,
hey, Amy.
From police reports, Dateline reported that Bryan Kohberger had watched a lot of Unsolved No More videos, and they showed our thumbnails on Dateline. And specifically, our series on Ted Bundy and my assessment of that serial killer. In addition, he watched a lot of his own coverage, meaning during that time in 2022, I was fascinated, like a lot of you, with the Idaho murders, and it was a case that I really wanted to study. And so I predicted
the case I really wanted to study. His seriousness cracks me up. I really like this guy. And I really like the message that he brings. I think that it applies to a lot of things that we've seen in the Rogers case. But let's keep going. Good morning, everybody just joining. This is Ken Maines from Unsolved No More. They showed his thumbnails on Dateline, and he was curious. So you're going to hear what he did.
What I thought the offender would be, not by name. A lot of stuff I got right, a couple things I got wrong. Regardless, apparently the Idaho suspect, remember, he's not guilty of anything right now. He watched a lot of my assessments. Now, my first reaction when somebody had reached out to me and told me this, I was like, no, I'm not surprised. And the reason I'm not surprised is because of the behavioral tendencies that I knew that this offender would have, which means he is going to be curious about the case.
The tinfoil women.
What's going on with it. He wants to know other people's thoughts, and that's important. So I wasn't surprised that he latched on to my videos. Now, hindsight, again, is always 20/20 in things like this. And this morning I was sitting there thinking about, what did I say in those videos? And there was a lot.
Women Are Sacred, thank you for 16 months of membership. I appreciate you. And I love that your whole guy is wrapped in tinfoil. Like his whole body is in the corner wrapped in tinfoil. Good morning, Robat. Good morning, Simplify. Texas Ranger, I did. And I think the guy just wants my attention, so he ain't getting it. Because he went live and then tagged me. Nope. That dude's a weirdo. Hello, Jenny. Welcome to Lawful Listener. Thank you for joining. Thank you for making it happen this morning. Hello, Eliz.
I probably released more
Grammy.
videos on that Idaho murder than any other case because, number one, I wanted to correct a lot of the wrongs. This is when the social media and internet and Reddit comments really started irritating me. Now, they shouldn't, okay? Because they weren't directed towards me. It's just I'm so passionate about this field. And when I saw people saying, well, one of the victims' moms was a drug user and this was a drug hit. I mean, stuff like that just irritated me because I knew that it wasn't. Now,
see, that shit irritated us too. The whole drug house. Oh, this was all drugs.
So what? They have their opinion. It's a drug hit. I educate. Hey, it's not a drug hit. I can tell you that right now, and I'll tell you why. And then that's okay. But then when they retort and they say, no, you're wrong, that's when I get irritated. And that's probably about this time that I stopped having comments on my page. And somebody had said recently, I saw they commented on one of my Facebook posts. And again, I don't read them often, but every now and again, I'll go in there and check and see how things are going. Well, if you disagree with Maines, you can just move on or something like that. He doesn't like that. And that is not the truth at all. If you disagree with a logical explanation and back it with evidence and not just your gut feeling, I will certainly entertain your theory. But when you just spout off nonsense and you have nothing to back it up, and I don't care if you are in law enforcement or not, if you don't have reason to back it up, I will call you an idiot. Because you're hurting victims' families by putting stuff out there without basis. And that's what got me irritated. So
yeah, I think that a lot of these people do. However, Robat, to back off what you said, did he block you, Texas Ranger? So he goes in to talk about the other detectives that cover cases. Hi, Misty. Good morning. But at least he's full of himself, but at least he puts the truth out there, right? I mean, let's face it. There's a lot of these so-called detectives like Chris McDonough who fools with people, who tricks people and shit like that, right? You think Chris McDonough isn't full of himself? You think Chris McDonough doesn't delete people? You think Chris McDonough doesn't block people? The fuck he doesn't. I'm blocked on Chris McDonough's channel. I am blocked over there. I have emailed. I asked him, hey, I'm blocked. So he ain't the only detective who blocks comments. Just saying. Good morning, Trix. Because McDougal, you know, they take advantage of shit. Just listen. Just hear him out. He might be a little conceited, but hear him out.
I'm digressing a little bit. I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. I want to talk about the stuff that I had put out there. Stuff like it wasn't a drug hit. People that said that the knife sheath was planted, which I knew it wasn't. That he had left it in a panic because there was a fight. The fact that he couldn't have murdered 4 people within 17 minutes. And that's complete nonsense. So because of these myths, I wanted to get on the channel, which fortunately I have a big enough following that I knew that if I could get it out there, people would listen. And they did. Some good, some bad. But I mean, you know, I got invited to Fox News to do an interview with Mark Furman. I got invited to Ashley Banfield. I didn't know who that was at the time.
I love this right here. Love it.
CNN. And there were some others. And as always, I turned them all down, except for I did try Banfield because I was intrigued by the show. But that went south because they wanted me, I felt, to talk bad about the Idaho police. And I wasn't going to do that because I didn't.
You like that? Here we go. News Nation at their finest. And we wonder why Ramsland went to Brian Enton with her statement, right? She didn't go to anybody else. You know why? Because Catherine Ramsland knew exactly what News Nation would do with it. She knew that News Nation would defend her. She knew that News Nation would put out her statement as fact and back her up. What's up, Potato? So listen what happened with Ashley.
I didn't see that. But that was the narrative, and they were staring me down, I felt. And when I didn't fall for the bait, like a lot of people do, they cut me off short. So I will never go on Ashley Banfield again. And that's funny is because I just had some contact with her program because they had run this special based off of Dateline, and they showed my videos and, my YouTube channel, Unsolved No More. Kohberger was watching this. So that being said, I took some action this weekend. Remember, this just happened Friday. And what's the big deal? It's not, to me, it's not really a big deal. A lot of people are making.
I think he loves that Bryan Kohberger listened to his videos, but he just doesn't want to say it. And he's going to tell us that he thinks Bryan Kohberger listened to him because he had it right.
It to be a big deal. All the serial killers want. So what? I mean, I talk to people in death row. I've worked with people in death row. Because Bryan Kohberger watched my show, he watched a lot of people's shows. I'm sure of it. But for some reason, it's focused in on Unsolved More. And somebody said, well, that's...
It really wasn't focused in on Unsolved No More. They showed one of his thumbnails, to be fair. It wasn't... I like him, but he cracks me up. He's pretty full of himself. But I do like him. Because he does spit the truth.
That's not the kind of endorsement you want, is it? Well, no shit. It is what it is. It's facts. He's watching it. Why is he watching it? That's what I want to know. Why? Why 5, 6, 7 videos, whatever it is of mine? Why didn't you turn off after one? So
I don't know how he knows it was 5 or 6 or 7 videos. I thought it was just one. I do too, Laura. Like, I can give someone, credit to be cocky and confident and come across cocky if they're spewing the truth. I think you guys will like his message.
Being the curious cat that I am, I want to figure it out. So there's 2 corrective actions that I took this weekend. One is I reached out to Dateline and said, hey, you're showing my stuff on your show. It's an NBC show. I'm signed with NBC. I have a new show on NBC coming out this fall. I would like to read those search histories of Bryan Kohberger's. You got them from the police and you aired it, so you have them. I want to see them. I want to see when he watched my shows, how frequent he did it. Now, I did see, I believe on November 18th is when he watched my Ted Bundy series, The Evolution of a Serial Killer. That's what was reported. But I want to see it. I want to see the search warrant from the Google search history or YouTube, whatever they used.
Do you think the Dateline will send that to him? I don't think they will. Apparently, he has his own true crime show coming up with NBC, so this guy is more than just a content creator.
Out of curiosity.
Yeah, this isn't his bread and butter, his YouTube channel.
But that's only going to tell me so much, right? If I want facts and I want to get to the bottom of it and I want to learn and I want to grow as an investigator, which is what I always strive to do, I have to reach out to the source. So I did.
Hey, Diana.
I reached out to Bryan Kohberger and I simply asked him, hey, it's being reported that you watch a lot of my criminal assessment videos, and in particular Ted Bundy, but there was a multitude of videos of mine that you watched. I want to ask you why. As a professional in the criminal justice field with 20 years of experience, 10 of them undercover, the other 10 working cold cases, whatever it is, with the FBI, with DEA, with district attorneys, all those things that I did, I want to know, why did you choose me? It surely wasn't my good looks, right? It had to be, I'm hoping, the content. Was it because I was correct in my criminal profiler of you? What was it?
So he reached out to Bryan Kohberger. Do you think he's going to hear back from Dateline or Bryan Kohberger? Yeah, he's been around for a long time, y'all. If you Google Ken Mains, You'll see. But do you think Bryan, I don't think Bryan's going to contact him. He's like ready for trial. I just don't think so. But who knows? He said he'll let us know if he hears back. But he reached out to Bryan and Dateline.
That's what I did. So I am now awaiting his response. Now, I did preface my correspondence with him by saying, I know you're coming up for trial in August, and you have to be careful about what you say. But you are smart enough to know what you can say and what you can't say. So I would appreciate a response. Now, will he respond? I don't know. But you have to try. I want to know why. Now, I mean, certainly this has become, I don't want to say a norm, but remember a few years ago when I got a call from an attorney out of the blue about a guy on San Quentin's death row who wanted to speak with me about some unsolved cases that he had knowledge of? Now, that was the first time that ever happened to me, where someone from death row, I mean, I've talked to prisoners my whole life, my whole career. I've ran confidential informants from prison, but nobody from death row. So when they reached out to me, I wouldn't say shooken. That is not the term.
Hey, vibe.
Maybe surprised. Why are you reaching out to me? Of all the criminal justice field people there are, why me? That's what I wanted to know back then. And the answer I got was simple. You have a good reputation of being fair, being firm, and quite frankly, you're good at solving cold cases. So when he told me that, okay, now I'm on board. I understand. And I worked it, and it eventually is going to be coming to light, everything that I did there and that we did together. It's very amazing. You're going to be seeing that soon. But so when Kohberger, now it's leaked or shown that he has watched me, I'm guessing it's going to be for the same reason. Now, I could be completely wrong there, but that's what I feel. So I wanted to address this. Is this going to turn into, I have a feeling it's going to,
a shit
once
show.
Monday hits, which is tomorrow, news networks and media are going to start reaching out to me again and wanting to interview me, knowing some, hey, what's your thoughts on this? So I'm trying to head that off by doing this. So that way I can say, hey, go watch my video on Unsolved No More. And that will give you my thoughts on Kohberger watching my videos. Again, I'm not surprised. Okay. I will be turning down a lot of interviews because
He's cracking me up. I will be turning down a lot of interviews. Ken, come on my show. Let's talk.
I always have. I don't do this to be famous, to be on television. I hate those quote unquote detectives that, man,
I love this part.
They have no integrity, no moral ground, because they'll say anything that the media wants them to say, or they'll make something up, to go on TV, to be controversial, because they know that will get them TV shows. I know. I can think of like 5 right now. And their TV shows and their interviews come out and they make these incredulous claims, and then nothing ever happens. They get their 5 minutes of fame because it's controversial. They get on TV and then nothing gets solved. I hate detectives like that. I really do.
Think about it. How many detectives have you seen do that shit? Who even are you? Laney, he may like to brag about himself, but at least he speaks the truth and he's against fake, fraudulent LARPers. If Dateline has the info, why can't the dude just file a FOIA? Because they got it leaked from the state, from somebody within. You can't FOIA any of this.
It gives everybody a bad name that work in this field. It's got to be about the truth. It's got to be about integrity. I was just talking to an old colleague of mine on the police department this morning, and we were talking about how people make the evidence fit their theory. And then if it doesn't fit...
You know what they were probably really talking about? The fact that Bryan Kohberger watched his vids.
They exclude it. It becomes exculpatory evidence eventually. But you can't do that. You have to let the evidence lead you to a theory, not the other way around. And I don't think a lot of detectives do that. especially in this internet day and age. Listen, I don't do this for the money. I've said that a million times. If I did, I could take advantage of this Facebook or YouTube, both the platforms, the social media platforms. YouTube pays us, yes, for this content by putting ads and doing whatever they do. But if I really wanted to, with 25,000 followers, whatever I have out there, I could put content, I could do 6 videos a day and make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of this platform, but I don't do that. There's some creators that do that. And that's where you get into trouble, because you start making things up to get clicks, and it's not what I'm about. I do my videos when I want to do them. I don't cave into peer pressure. When the national media contacts me for an interview and says, well, we think that the police screw up on this Idaho case. They got a rookie investigator leading it, and we'd like to interview you about it. Okay, yeah, well, I'll do it. And then I start to praise the investigator.
That's News Nation right there. Maybe, Robat. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but this is funny. So this is how he got on News Nation. I love this because I hate News Nation. I hate Nexstar. They're the ones that sued me.
Interview about it. Okay, yeah, well, I'll do it. And then I start.
So they tricked him and they said, hey, we want to do an interview about this, young guy being the lead investigator. Then they wanted him to basically say that the dude was incompetent and go along with the rumors on social media.
To praise the investigator because I thought they were doing everything correctly. And all of a sudden, yeah, it's time for commercial. And then I'm done. You know what I mean? You stick to your guns. Be a stand-up person. Don't be a yes man. That's my 2 cents.
Stand up for yourself. I agree.
My book back here. If people want to know why I have success in cold cases, read Mastering Cold Case Investigations. It's on Amazon. You can go to my website, kenmains.com, and get it. Actually, and I'll leave a little video at the end of this so you can write about a lot of these unsolved cases. For example, Brittany Drexel. You can go back and watch my video before Raymond Moody was arrested. I profiled him to the T.
I think it's very interesting, though, to hear this, that was his experience with News Nation, right? They wanted him to go a certain way, and he didn't, and they went to commercial, and they said, we're done.
Carrie Mae Parker is another one. Tiffany Valente. That was an equivocal, but still, it gets the point. The Idaho murders. I mean, I had 90%. I
do have to say, though, that I noticed over here on his diploma that it says something University of Pennsylvania. Is he in Pennsylvania as well? Hi, Joey. Get a backbone and do what's right. Amen.
Profiled. Crime scene assessments is something I'm very well versed at. I'm trained in it. I'm passionate about it. Delphi murders. I go back and look at my assessment on that. Sure, I wasn't 100%, but you're not going to be 100% on all of them. But when you're 80, 90%, that's pretty damn good. And it's not through guesswork. It's not through theory. It's through...
When you're 80 or 90% correct.
Applied knowledge. It's through circumstantial evidence, indirect evidence, direct evidence, all those things combined. That's how you make a proper assessment of a crime scene that you can give to a family member or you can give to law enforcement. When Brenda Condon's case is eventually, I shouldn't say eventually solved, because I solved it. I solved that case. So when law enforcement decides to listen to me, and I think they know that I'm right, but they just don't want to admit it because, hey, egos are the detriment of cold cases, not lack of evidence. It's egos.
Do you think, I believe that. I don't know if it's all the time, but I think a lot of the time. He is. Women are sacred. He is single.
And once they see that, they'll find out that I was 100% on that. Well, I'll say 95%. Because there's always going to be something that you get wrong.
He's he can only be 5% wrong. I know. It's funny, but not everybody's fucking perfect. I just want you to listen to his message.
Once they see that, they'll find
funny?
out that I was 100% on that. Well, I'll say 95%. Because there's always going to be something that you get wrong. But that's about as arrogant as I'm going to get. The same police officer that I was talking to this morning said, he were talking about TV shows and stuff like that, and how my assessments were normally right.
Hi,
and
Nicole.
He said, how do you are so humble. And I am humble because I'm blessed with a talent, I believe, to help. But I'm certainly been accused of being cocky as well. And I am that as well. Because I know I'm good. Now, that could sound cocky. And so be it. I'm tired of defending it. When you know you're good at something, you know you're good. You don't have to tell everybody all the time. Just do the job. Do it correctly. And do it for the right reasons. And I think when you do that, your passion shows through it. Your transparency. And I'm big on transparency.
See, I like his message. And you know what? If you're confident in what you do, you can sound cocky. You know what I mean? Hey, Shauna. Hey, AZ. Hey, everybody. No, not this guy. I don't know if he's single. She asked if Streamlabs was. I kind of do too. I mean, because we see cockiness in people that are putting out misinformation all the time. Why do we care about him being cocky if he's putting out the truth? Right? We deal with these fuckers that put out fake information and they're cocky as hell. You think Chris McDonough ain't cocky? Look at Blue Gumballs. Look at Blue Gumballs in freaking Dr. Gary. That whole thing is weird. Right? At least this guy ain't sitting on the floor on Josh's panel. I could say that. I could give him that much. I love Pat Brown. I really do. I like her a lot.
So, hey, I'm humble and I'm confident. I'm both. So, if Kohberger and all the people in death row in San Quentin, when I talked to that San Quentin death row prisoner and he said, well, everybody up here knows Ken Mains, that scared me for a brief second. I'm like, how the hell do these San Quentin, of all prisons, death row, know me? He said it was because of your work. So be it. Okay, that's the field I chose. That's the field I love to be in. I get very upset about people that don't take this field serious and they put out YouTube videos for clicks and for likes. I don't like it. I don't have to like it, and I don't cave into peer pressure. That's just how it is. The Idaho murders I wanted to learn from that. And I did learn. And I'm still learning from it. But I'm hoping that I taught, in all those series of videos that I did, I'm hoping that I taught you something. So we don't make the mistake of, one, accusing somebody who is innocent. Police and amateur detectives do that all the time. Mm-hmm. And number two,
they always attack the police, don't they? It's true.
Don't hurt victims' family members. Like the FBI agent who wanted to be famous, and he gets on national media and says, well, I think we ought to be looking at one of the Idaho victims' father.
What? Wait. What FBI agent said we need to be looking at Michael Kohberger? Why? What? Why would they say that?
National media and says, well, I think we ought to be looking at one of the Idaho victims' father for this quadruple.
Idaho victim, not Bryan Kohberger's dad, but Steve. Is that when they were going after Steve? I've never heard that. Is it Steve? He said victim's father.
And number two, you don't hurt victims' family members. Like the FBI agent who wanted to be famous, and he gets on national media and says, well, I think we ought to be looking at one of the Idaho victims' father for this quadruple murder.
What network was that on? Look how mad he gets about that. Yeah, that pisses him off. Come on. Salty mamas. I can't even get down with that. Steve Gonsalves did not do this. Are y'all crazy? Steve being linked to his brother who's in prison? Oh my goodness. We are not our family members. That is sick. Can you imagine losing your daughter in this murder and then you're accused of doing it? Did you see him truck you? He got big mad, didn't he? He don't like that. He's
everybody all big mad. Always big mad.
Amanda, not everyone is a suspect. Bryan Kohberger is the only sole suspect.
One of the Idaho victims' father for this quadruple murder. And then people listen to him. Why? Because he's on the national media. He has those 3 letters, FBI, behind his name. Retired.
Mods, can someone time out Marjorie? Marjorie, come back when you're not speaking nonsense. Stop it.
Should have never had the job, in my opinion, if that's your assessment of this case. Go back to working money or drugs or whatever it was, because you're no cool case detective. I'll tell you that. And all that did was hurt the victim's family. Why? One of 2 reasons. You're incompetent, which you shouldn't be on television or in the FBI. 2, because you want to be famous.
Hey, Snazzy.
So you get on there and spout nonsense. So
hey,
you
Jams.
can get other media to call you. It's ridiculous. And people fall for that trap all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time. I see it. That's why I quit watching the news. And that's why I turned off comments.
For anybody who doesn't think one person could do this, I don't know how long you followed true crime, but it's been done many times. And with weapons that aren't as deadly as a knife. I challenge you to go sit in a chair. How many minutes did they say? In 17 minutes or 13 minutes, whatever it is. Go sit in a chair for 13 minutes and see how long that really is.
I still get shit about that. Listen, I don't... And this isn't an indictment on the good people out there. I don't care about your opinions. I don't. Now, if you want to unsubscribe from this channel because of my thoughts on that, then do it. I didn't get into this so I could have 100,000 subscribers. I don't care. I appreciate you, especially the good ones. But if you disagree, and I said this before, if you disagree with logic and intelligence behind your disagreement, that's fine. But when people start commenting that I don't know what I'm talking about, and you're living in your grandmother's basement eating Cheetos, and you're telling me you're the expert.
Oh, it's so true. We see these people every fucking day on here. Every day. Joey, 2 or 3 people didn't do this. You're crazy. Bryan Kohberger would never give the props to anybody but himself.
I don't have time for that. I never, in my lifetime, when I was in college or high school, would have questioned Dr. Henry Lee or Dr. Cyril Weck. These people that I looked up to when I was younger.
Diana.
And I had the good fortune of meeting and working with both of them, thank goodness. But I wouldn't, even if I disagreed with them, I wouldn't disrespect them like that. And I think that's the big thing that the internet allows. And what makes it worse is today's society makes it almost normal. It's okay to disrespect your elders or people.
So Joey thinks 3 people were smart, were just so, like, they were so clever that none of them left DNA. All 3 of them were in there doing it, but not one other person's DNA. Just Bryan's on that little snap. A green car. Dude, Joey, I can't with you. You're disrupting. Please knock it off. I go with the facts, dude. And what you're saying, there ain't nothing factual about it. Y'all make shit up and believe it, and then want people to believe it. Joey has orange fingers. Joey, is your keyboard orange from your little Cheeto fingers?
In your field who are quote unquote experts. I never would do that, but that's me. That's the way I was raised. That's what my dad taught me. That's what the Marine Corps taught me. Now, even if I disagree with them, I would wait until I seen them face to face. This is what I think. Yeah, what you said is good, but how about this? But no, not in today's day and age with comments. You just sit there and say, you're an idiot, and this is how it is, and how can you... I'll give you a perfect example. Some idiot out there who has a following in true crime made a video about one sentence that I made and took it completely out of proportion, like the media normally does. When I said Bryan Kohberger fantasized about one of the victims, that this was a fantasy killing, and I still believe that.
I do too.
Okay? A sexual fantasy. He knew one of those victims that he went after first. Maddie.
I think he wanted Maddie.
Or the other girl. I'm sorry that her name slips my mind. But I said his fantasy about her could be anything. It's a sexual fantasy. But whatever his fantasy is, he wanted to implement that fantasy.
What the fuck does a jacket have to do with a murder? Why are you people taking a jacket that she was wearing because it was probably chilly and someone let her wear their fucking jacket and said, I'll get it back from you next time I see you or whatever? Why does everybody make this jacket like a smoking gun to a murder? That is so stupid. Like, do you guys even think before you say these outlandish things? Do you actually comprehend them in your brain? Because they're the dumbest theories that I've ever heard. Oh, Maddie's jacket has something to do with it. What? Who gives a flying fuck about her jacket? What does her jacket have to do with anything? It's the dumbest distraction I've ever heard. And furthermore, I don't understand why you people want Bryan to be innocent so bad. Why? Why do you look at all of this evidence and want him to be innocent so bad? The jacket found in the field? What? Dude, you're a weirdo. And you know what, Micro? I'm with you. They're slow burgers. I can't even call you a pro. You're a slow burger. It's so fucking weird, dude. You're weird. Good God, they were just kids out living a normal life until this motherfucker came in their house unannounced and uninvited. Oh, yeah, the frats did it. Joey, you're an idiot. You truly are. Joey, a gorilla lettuce. You really are. I'm sorry, you are an idiot. Hey, 12 gauge.
Maybe he was just let's just say, fantasizing about having a pizza. Now, I said that, not jokingly, but as an analogy to his fantasy. His fantasy could be anything because we don't know what's going on inside his mind. But it was a sexual fantasy. Okay? And so because I said pizza, this idiot YouTube creator who has no true crime law enforcement experience wants to make a video, 4 clicks, to say, cool case expert Ken Main says Idaho victim wanted to share a pizza.
Do you want to know why? Listen. Why do you want them guilty so bad in a quadruple murder? Why wasn't all the evidence looked at? There's blood at the crime scene. You don't think that people leave little specks of blood? You don't think so? You don't think that people leave little trace things of blood randomly? For God-ass sakes. Do I think they should have tested that DNA? Abso-fucking-lutely. Because of idiots like you. Because there might be an idiot like you on the jury who will think that means he's innocent. Right? Because they didn't test the DNA on the fucking banister. That gives you enough to say he's innocent. So you choose to ignore all of the evidence that shows he's guilty, right? That shows that he did it. But you will blame frat boys, right? With no evidence. Zero. Because of a jacket. Oh, the frat guys did it because there was a jacket in the field. Ugh. How can you back that up with any evidence? Now you guys have the car lime green. Are you on drugs? This is a serious question. What the hell are you on that you think this way? It's wild to me.
Pizza with Bryan Kohberger as like a joke, trying to make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. Now, I realize the more quote unquote famous you get, the more this shit happens. But you don't have to like it. You don't have to conform to it. Just like when you go to a baseball game, I take my daughter there and you got some drunk idiot behind me yelling at Paul Skeens, telling him to strike out. I came here for the effing strikeouts. You suck. Your mom sucks.
See, that's what we get over here with these idiots. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm at a baseball game with the drunk idiot behind me, and that's the slow burgers. Are the drunk idiots behind me ruining the game? Hi, Auntie Cheryl. Good morning.
Oh, I came here for the effing strikeouts. You suck. Your mom sucks. Do I have to sit there and take that? No. But what gives him the right to yell all that negative stuff at the pro athlete? Just because he's a pro athlete, he has to take that?
Hey, Ganja. Good morning.
No, it's not right. It's not right. So I stand up for myself by turning off comments. If that gets people riled up, so be it. I don't care.
I wouldn't either.
I've never.
You know what? If I didn't want to deal with fucking comments and I didn't have to, and I didn't like the shit that was being said and it was spreading misinformation in my comment section, I would shut them off too. I would shut them off too. Because you know what he's doing? He's shutting off the misinformation from being on his channel. He's not going to be a vessel for people like, what's his name that's in here? I can't remember his name now. Joey. He's not going to be a vessel for Joey. The Joeys and the others, right?
For peer pressure my entire life. In the police department, I was always the one on the outside. I had 2 or 3 close friends. That was it. I didn't care about what anybody else thought. It's about the job, period. End of story. I don't need friends. All I care about is my family and this job. And when this job helps victims' families, that's what I care about. And that's what I do. And that's why victims' families and law enforcement continue to come to me. Because I know what the hell I'm talking about. And I proved it time and time again. So back to the beginning. Why Bryan Kohberger is watching my videos is most likely because he feels I know what I'm talking about. I, again, didn't get this following of hundreds of thousands of viewers and stuff because of my good looks.
Got that right. Truck you. So guess what? So does Dr. Gary Brucato, because Dr. Gary Brucato was in my comment section when I did a review of his analysis of Bryan Kohberger because I thought he was spot on. Well, some people in my comment section didn't agree with him, and he said that if I wanted him, because he said he'd come on my show and discuss. I was excited about that because I really liked his viewpoint and his analysis, because it was exactly what I was thinking. And he told me that he wanted me to delete a longtime viewer, block them, block their comments, and not allow them to comment during the live stream. And guess what? I told him no, because I have integrity and I'm going to stand up for what's right. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm not going to delete someone who's been with me for years because this guy doesn't like the criticism. So in my opinion, him turning off his comments, yeah, it might be a baby move, but I'm telling you, there are bigger fucking babies out there to be called out. They are big, big man babies out there.
I am 50 years old and I'm beyond that. It's because of the knowledge and the ability to help people. It's all I want to do.
Listen.
So, with that said.
You know what? You're right. You are entitled to your opinion, Paco. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with it. And yes, I do think blaming the father, Salty, is fucking wrong. That's wrong. What evidence do you have to say that? That Steve is sus? I just don't think that's on the respectful level. Because there's no evidence that Steve has anything to do with it. And God forbid, think about it. He lost his daughter. I'm not trying to call you an idiot, but I can't. With blaming the father of a victim, I can't get down with that.
Once Dateline responds to me, if they do, I will let you guys know. If Bryan Kohberger responds to me, I won't hold my breath. Number one, because he's going to trial. He would be smart to not respond, or if he does respond, to choose his words very carefully. But I want to know, and hopefully one day he will respond and tell me why he's watching my videos. If you haven't watched my videos on the Idaho murders, please do.
Isn't that basically the same thing, though, Salty? Bad feeling makes you feel sus. I mean, does he give you a bad feeling because you think he killed his daughter and her friends? Or does he give you a bad feeling because you just don't like him as a person? You know what I mean? Just because you don't like Kaylee's dad as a person or how he presents himself that doesn't make him have anything to do with this. You know what I mean? The date of this video was just yesterday. And we're almost done. And then I'm going to show some of the slow burgers something.
I will link either the Idaho murders or the Ted Bundy, the Evolution of Serial Killer series that I did, that he watched, I believe, a couple days after those murders. It was a good series. I really felt that I broke down Ted Bundy very well. Each of his murders, why he chose to do it, and most importantly, what we could learn from that. What I can learn from it, because I always want to learn. If you stop growing, you're dying.
Damn.
If you want to be at the top of any vocation that you're at, doesn't matter what it is, you have to learn. You just have to learn.
Right, but Salty Mamas, him being weird to you has nothing to do with the case, right? It has nothing to do with the evidence of the case against Bryan Kohberger. I think Steve, me too, Emily Pickles. I'm right there with you 100%. He's been a strong motherfucker. And you know what? Who cares if he's hot-headed? Maybe he is hot-headed. He stood up for his daughter, though. He sure did. Look, he can't even take it no more. I can't take it no more, Ken.
I think that's it for today. Got a lot of stuff going on. Tomorrow's a big day. I'm going to be searching for remains in a cold case. I might video that. I might not. That's the thing, is you just kind of pick and choose what you want to put out there. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. Next week, I resume filming for the show on NBC. Wrapping that up, hopefully, in a week or two. Next week, they will be announcing...
Yeah, see, he doesn't go on X and have little baby fits at people. See that? Salty Mamas, Jay, stop. I got a bad feeling about him. Just saying, I don't know why. I just do. And I never accused him. Stop saying I did. No, not you. I didn't say you accused him. Someone else did, and you were like, yeah, I don't trust him, or whatever you said. Someone said they think he did it, and then you said, I got a bad feeling about him. So I thought you were piggybacking on that. If you weren't, I apologize. Right. I mean, you got that right, Jason Riddle. Right, Gigi. He's publicly had to grieve and fight for his daughter in front of the public. I know people are emotional. A lot of us, we are, and that's okay. I don't. I just get a bad. Okay, that's fair enough. Fair enough. And I've said that before as well. There were times when I was like, I don't know about this guy. Like, he seems kind of like shady a little bit, but I actually have grown to really have so much respect for him, though. Hey, Yoga. Java Jones says the 23 plus phone pings near the girl's house is a lot for me. Then the Google search after. You think he'll testify, Joey? I don't. Steve's passion for his daughter is amazing. I agree. Oh, we all get worked up, don't we, Salty? It's okay. But he's seen the autopsy too. We're gonna go through the timeline. Since we're live right now, we're gonna get that out there. So let's listen to this. I'm gonna get that ready and we're gonna go over it.
Actually tomorrow, I think, maybe Tuesday, they will be announcing my new show on NBC.
Ooh,
in
big
some
announcement.
magazine, I think Variety or something like that. They're doing a feature article in Vanity Fair. Listen,
you go,
I'm
boy.
very proud of the work that I did on this new TV show because I got results. And here I'm going to be cocky a little bit again. And if you don't like it, you can shut it off right now. But probably my best work in solving cool cases will be shown on this new TV show. I got results. And you're going to see why some people call me a legend in true crime.
Oh,
now, that's
Lord.
about as cocky as I will get. But I'm proud
That's
of it.
what you said earlier. That's what you said earlier. You told us you weren't getting no cockier earlier when you patted yourself on the back. Now you just doubly patted yourself on the back. Boy, this guy. All right, you guys. It's getting hard to defend his ass.
To solve murder when there's a smoking gun, when you're matching up a bullet with ballistics.
Why can't we get someone in the middle, though? You like him, Ganj? Amy likes it, too.
Or you're matching up DNA when you got a truly who's done it that's 50 years old and you figure it out by some small leads, some small clues like Phyllis O'Brien case that I figured out. It's ecstatic because you're helping so many families and you're going to see that in this new show.
It's ecstatic? It's ecstatic. That's like, that's a feeling. Like, I was ecstatic.
So watch next week when they announce that as well. So, hey, thanks for watching. Again, I don't do this every day.
You're welcome.
But when I get a chance to, when I feel something's important, I will put it out to you. And I hope you enjoy it. That's all I can say. It's this genre, this true crime thing for me, is about results. It's about working for the victims' families. And to satisfy my own curiosity as a detective. Once I get onto a case, I get curious about it. The Cherry Mahan case, I was very curious about that, and I did an assessment. And that's what I do. That's the gift God gave me, and that's the path that I'm going to follow until I'm no.
See, I don't think he would get along with Gray Hughes at all, because they would butt heads, right? Gray Hughes thinks he knows everything. This guy actually has done things, right, that are noteworthy. Great. What does Gray Hughes have under his belt? I mean, for real, what does he have? I can do maps. Okay, yippee. So can Brittany J. Eventually. I mean, it might take her an hour and a half to pull up the damn map, but she does get on Google Maps too.
No longer on this earth is to work cool cases. And I am humbled to be even mentioned at the top of my field. Humbled. My 15-year-old self that was reading Helter Skelter would know that in 2025, I would be known as one of the best cool case investigators in the world.
I wonder what Chris McDonough would say about that. 12 gauge investigative. I like your channel, Jay. Come by mine sometime. Thank you for the invitation, 12 gauge. I will check you out. Thank you.
It leaves me speechless. But I'm going to continue to do it because that's what I do and that's what I love to do. So thanks for watching. I'll keep you updated. Main's out.
Main's out. Okay, so that was that. I am anxiously awaiting to see if he hears back from Dateline or Blowburger. But I figured we can just go through this right now while I've got y'all here. This is the next order of business I was going to go over in the next live, but let's go ahead and get that out. It's only 10 a.m. I've got a whole nother segment. I'm going to go make a fresh cup of coffee. And we'll go through this tight timeline that I don't think the pro burgers can necessarily disagree with. I really don't. So, hold on. Hold, please. I'm going to entertain you while I go make my coffee because I don't disappoint. And I don't fall asleep. Okay, so let's go here to my full playlist. And let me find one that's... Oh, here's one. We'll watch this. That's just the post. We will go through Papa Rogers too, though. Definitely. I want to go back through inside looking, outside looking, and Papa Rogers. I'm trying to find one of the shorter ones. Kohberger had a Glock. Did you guys remember that? I have so many videos I want to go over. Okay, here, let's watch this one. Visual Snow of Bryan Kohberger. And I'm going to go make coffee, and we'll come back and do our second segment. Give me just a minute.
And if you like what you
say, and I am your host, Kohberger, and the Visual Snow and the Tappa Talk account. But the Idaho Statesman put out a pretty detailed article on the subject and what it's like to have this disorder.
The man charged with the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students has spent much of his teen and adult life consumed by a rare neurological disorder known as visual snow syndrome. He would talk about it, like, all the time. Thomas Arns, a former friend of Kohberger's in high school, told the Idaho Statesman in a phone interview. The word that comes to mind is that he was neurotic about it, and talked about it relentlessly. I guess it truly bothered him to no end. Learning of the condition through Bryan Kohberger was the first time many people following the case had heard of the little-known condition. Even experts say they have a lot to learn. Visual snow syndrome is a relatively recently observed condition that is believed to have been first described in 1995. It wasn't officially given a name until a 2015 study. People with visual snow report seeing small, moving dots across their vision. Those who grew up before the age of smart TVs should be able to easily picture what it looks like. Visual snow is like looking at the world through a fuzzy, static-filled television. They have like a broken TV box in front of their eyes. Lars Mikkels, a Swiss researcher working on some of the most recent studies of the syndrome, told a Statesman in a phone interview. Episodes of snowy vision usually last a minute but can go on for hours, Mikkels said. People report other visual distortions as well. It can look like it's raining when it's not, or as if there are 12 moving cars when there is only one. About half of patients report that visual snow is accompanied by migraines and a ringing in the ears known as tinnitus, both of which can be debilitating. Migraines can be painful enough to prevent people from performing daily activities, and tinnitus can make concentration and hearing difficult, according to the Mayo Clinic. Visual snow may affect up to 2% of the population, but not enough research has been done to get a true sense of its prevalence, the Mayo Clinic reported. Mikkels said visual snow is often misdiagnosed as either just migraines or just a visual problem. The connection is not always made between the two. A 2020 study found an average age of 29 among visual snow patients, who all reported that symptoms began early in life. The syndrome is equally common among men and women, unlike migraines, which affect women 2 to 3 times more than men. Online records suggest that Kohberger turned to the internet to talk about his struggles with the condition. A user who appeared to be Kohberger posted about visual snow on Tapatalk, an online forum, between 2009 and 2012. The New York Times, which was first to report on the Tapatalk account, noted that the username matched an email address belonging to Kohberger. References to his birthday lined up with his known birth date, and his listed location of Effort, Pennsylvania, matched Kohberger's hometown. A photo on the account appears to show Kohberger. The user, named Xair, those with visuals now, wrote that he developed the syndrome on September 21, 2009. Kohberger was almost 15 years old at that time. Since then, the user said he had changed, mainly from the anxiety and sense of derealization and hopelessness. He wrote frequently of how difficult it was to access memories. Ever since then I have been depressed, he wrote in 2010. I can't remember anything at all. And I always have this horrible pressure in my head. My mind is never not on visual snow and I always wonder what a normal person would be doing while I sit there and suffer.
The Tapatalk user described feeling a lack of connection to life, saying his life felt like a video game. At times he was slightly into the game, but other times, the game felt pointless and full of nothing. I have had this horrible depersonalization go on in my life for almost 2 years, a 2011 post said. I often find myself making simple human interactions, but it is as if I am playing a role-playing game.
Gary.
Looking into the faces of family members was like looking at a video game, but less. As my family group hugs and celebrates, I am stuck in this void of nothing. Feeling completely no emotion, feeling nothing. The post said, I feel dirty, like there is dirt inside my head, my mind. I am always dizzy and confused. I feel no self-worth.
Mickles said depersonalization or feeling as if one is in a video game is common. Reliable vision allows our brain to know it is in a stable environment. When seemingly random noises and visual disturbances are continuously popping up, it can make a person feel as if their environment is less grounded in reality. Mickles said living with a condition for which there is no cure can take a toll on one's mental health. People with the syndrome often suffer from mild to moderate depression, fatigue and insomnia. A 2021 study that surveyed 125 visual snow patients found that patients showed high rates of anxiety and depression, depersonalization, fatigue and poor sleep, which significantly impacted quality of life. Further, psychiatric symptoms, particularly depersonalization, were related to increased severity of visual symptoms. But Mickles isn't aware of a connection between visual snow and aggression.
When something is happening in your brain that shouldn't, chemicals are being released that shouldn't. These chemicals are released because we have toxins that our body doesn't want. It is going haywire. He pointed to a website called Know the Cause, which talks about the many ailments caused by fungi and yeast. The user said he planned to cure his syndrome through the diet on the website. The diet, known as the Kaufman diet, encourages people to eliminate a large number of foods, including sugar, wheat, corn, peanuts, soy, alcohol, and animals that were fed these products before slaughter. The user also wrote, the truth is, there is no test for our toxins. We just need to rid ourselves of them. Arntz remembered Kohberger trying to cure his visual snow through a diet. Carbohydrates were a big no-no, and you had to stay away from breads and absolutely no sugar. So mostly he would eat slices of ham and omelets, she said. And many people said they recalled Kohberger's considerable weight loss in high school.
Experts still don't know what causes visual snow syndrome, and there is no known cure. People who develop it have it the rest of their lives. But, as more research is conducted, clues are emerging about its origins. Research indicates that visual snow is connected to something going wrong with the visual processing center in the brain's cerebral cortex, causing it to overload and process sights incorrectly. There's probably too much fuel in the tank of these people, and the brain cannot deal with it, because it's overloaded with information, Mickles said. An overloaded brain forces it to work more and, similar to the way muscles grow with increased exercise, the high amount of activity causes extra brain growth. Mickles' research involves analyzing images taken of the brains of visual snow patients. Researchers can see that a part of their brains has expanded, causing them to suspect this abnormal growth may be linked to visual snow symptoms.
After learning all of this about visual snow, do you think that this is something that Bryan Kohberger was ailing with? Do you think Face only a mother could love, I tell you. Sorry, I was muted. Damn it. I was talking to y'all and everything. Okay, let's get into our next segment. Are you guys ready? We're going to talk about this new timeline with Dateline, and I kind of pieced in things that we know from court documents as well. I wanted to release this, but Dateline claimed it again. So I'm going to be pausing a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of commentary, but I want to walk through this. It's going to be interesting. Here we go.
That Saturday night, Ethan and Xana
Hold on. Slow that shit down.
were attending a party at the nearby Sigma Chi fraternity. Kaylee and Maddie went to hang out at the Corner Club in downtown Moscow, arriving sometime after 10 p.m.
So this is starting out, right, Saturday night. This is where they went. This is the timeline, okay? I'm sorry I have to keep pausing, but I don't want the stream to get shut down because that's what they do. It's this damn music in the background.
3.5 hours later, at 1:37 a.m., the two women left the bar together, walked a couple of blocks to a place called the Grub Truck, and got some food, as you can see in this video. At precisely 1:49 a.m., one of the women called for a young fraternity member who'd been assigned.
So yesterday I went over the Grub Truck video again, and I don't think that guy, the two guys that walked past, I don't think any of them are Kohberger. Because they actually go up and order food. I don't see him in this video, in the Grub Truck. But it's interesting now if we go deeper in the timeline, when and if we find out where he was driving around, because remember, he was like up and down King Road. We see him turning around like 333, 340 something, then again at 345 or whatever. He drove around somewhere in between those times. So I was thinking about the whole criminal that answered the research survey. I put a video about that yesterday. SG said that someone contacted them and said he answered Bryan's survey and that Bryan was like obsessed with the dude's crime. And the dude's crime was he would listen to a police scanner, wait for like a domestic violence call where the male got arrested, and then he would go rob the place. But Bryan wanted to go deeper and wanted to keep asking him questions about that. So I think Bryan made those calls. I think Bryan might have called the cops on those kids walking through Band Field. I really do. I think he wanted to distract the police. So at 3:00, we have the Band Field people getting, minor in possession. I think so, Danny. Yeah. I just think that he did that. And then I think from 3:30 to 4:00, he kept trying to get the gumption up to do it. That's why he was driving up and down the road. Yep. Disperse the kids too. Yep. Because all the kids came out of the house. We're going home. What if he went in there during some of those calls? We need to go back through the body cams.
To help drive home upper-class men and women to make sure they arrived safely, a ride of little more than a mile. They got to the house on King Road at 1:56 a.m. Roommates Bethany and Dylan also got home around 2. Xana and her boyfriend, Ethan, would return shortly.
Court records reveal a series of text messages. Okay. So I'm filling in the timeline here. So let me actually mute this. We really don't even need to listen to his ass because I know what the damn timeline thing is. So 1:56 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie get home. 2:00, Dylan and Bethany get home. And then Ethan and Xana arrive shortly after. So this is what happens after that when the girls are texting with one another.
Friend Ethan would return shortly.
Court records reveal a series of text messages exchanged between Dylan, Bethany, and others on November 13th, 2022. At 2:10 a.m., Dylan sends a text to EG, an Uber driver, to ask if he's working. So we now know that what that was about was all the girls were upstairs. Kaylee and Maddie had food. They wanted food. For whatever reason, they decided not to get the food. This message is not considered hearsay, but may be used to establish a timeline, confirming Dylan was awake and texting at that time.
And starting at 2:26 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie made a total of 10 phone calls to Kaylee's former boyfriend.
So we have the 10 calls at 2:26, starting at 2:26, to Jack. And do you guys think that the call to Jack was about, did he talk to Adam? What do you guys think of that?
A half hour later, at 2:54 a.m., the cell phone in neighboring Pullman was turned off.
Okay, so here we go. 2:54 is when Bryan Kohberger turned off his phone. The kids at Band Field were getting in trouble at right around 3 a.m., right? So he drives. This is when he's leaving Pullman to head over to Moscow. Turns the shit off. 2:54. Probably because he was sleeping, Joey.
It was the cell phone belonging to Bryan Kohberger. 32 minutes later, at 3:26, a car that authorities identified as a white Elantra and called Suspect Vehicle 1 was detected in the southeast corner of Moscow.
What time? 32 minutes later at 3:26. Here, we can just read the captions. At 3:26, a car that authorities identified as a white Elantra and called Suspect Vehicle 1 was detected in the southeast corner of Moscow. Kohberger shuts off his phone and starts his drive from Pullman to Moscow. At 3:30, security video from a neighboring house, obtained exclusively by Dateline, shows Suspect Vehicle 1 turning towards 1122 King Road. This is 3:30. So he's detected, and then there he is, right on their road at 3:30. Now, mind you, I think still at this time, those kids are down there getting questioned by the police, right?
Just off camera. 3 minutes later, at 3:33 a.m., the car was back, again cut.
Damn, dude. 3:30, 3:33. Then again at 3:40. And then back at 3:56. And then again at 3:58.
3:58 a.m. By 4 a.m., most people inside the house were in their rooms. Some were asleep. But not Xana, who about that time received a food order from DoorDash. Then at 4:00.
Do we know the exact time of the DoorDash or just approximate? I can't remember. 4 a.m., most people inside the house were in their room. Some were asleep, but not Xana.
But not Xana, who about that time received a food order from DoorDash.
And where was the DoorDash order dropped off? Was it dropped off in front? Did she go to the front? Everybody's in. Picture this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Picture this. Picture that Xana's food's dropped off at the front door. She goes to the front door to grab her food. Everybody else is in their rooms, and he sneaks in the back door and goes upstairs. She goes back in the kitchen. Door's wide open. She sees something out of place and goes upstairs to check it out because she hears something and says, someone's here. And then he chases her down.
Then at 4:06 a.m., something definitive seemed to be happening. The car traveled west, performed a U-turn at the intersection of King Road and Queen Road, and headed back toward the house. At 4:07 a.m., the car drove in one last time.
You thought the DoorDash was 4:04? So if it's 4:04 and he's pulling back in at 4:07, I wonder how they crossed paths. It'll be interesting to find out like those exact details.
Approaching the house at 1122 King Road. What happened? Sometime after 4:07 a.m., the killer entered the house on the second floor through an unlocked sliding kitchen door.
Thank you, Shelby. Jay, do we know if BK made any calls during the time of driving around? They haven't said. They haven't said anything about that, surprisingly. Did he order DoorDash to Xana and drive around waiting to see DoorDash leave? Well, that's what I said in the beginning. I'm like, did he order the DoorDash so that he could plan this? But why would she? But they have her ordering the DoorDash. They have like that record in the documents. So she ordered it. She was expecting it, I guess. It's just weird, isn't it, that she would order food 2 hours after being home? Oh, that's right. His phone was off. Duh. Black Hawk, I can't with you.
And went quickly and directly upstairs to Maddie Mogan's bedroom. Sources close to the investigation have told us that is one of the reasons they believe Maddie was the killer's target. But almost certainly to the killer's surprise, he discovered that Maddie was not alone. Kaylee was sleeping in the same bed. Close to the investigation speculate that Xana, downstairs in the second floor kitchen on TikTok, heard thumping and went to...
So that's what they're saying. That Xana was in the kitchen with her food and heard thumping. They did say he almost hit somebody. Yep. And I don't know who that person is, right?
To investigate. The killer must have heard this, our sources said, and turned his attention away from Maddie and Kaylee and began chasing Xana. And in that...
And I think when she ran down the stairs, that's when she said, somebody's here. Do you guys think that's when she said somebody's here and that's what Dylan heard?
The killer in pursuit, Xana desperately tried to reach her bedroom where Ethan was sleeping or was possibly passed out. But as she reached the bedroom, the killer was on her.
So this is when she had the struggle with him. Thank you, Angie B. Welcome to the Clicker Crew Narcoleptic Buttered Catfish.
Making it happen. I want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
He can't be entering the house as Xana was getting the bag of food. Okay, but you're assuming, Black Hawk, that Xana was standing there waiting for the food. How do you know that the food wasn't dropped and she didn't get it, take a couple minutes to go get it? You don't. Could she have seen the headlights pull into the driveway? Brian's headlights? Well, their windows were wide ass open, weren't they? Vince!
But one source described as a hell of a fight ensued.
So we know a little bit about the fight that Xana defended herself to Brian because we heard that her fingers were almost severed. But if you look at this angle of the house, I would imagine Xana on the floor next to the bed here with her feet where they could see it, like looking in. Is that how they described it? Because remember the blood coming out of the foundation or whatever? Skip, yeah, we know he pulled in the back, but the headlights still went by the front over and over and over for a half an hour that morning. Oh, Skip, that's so horrible. I know, Terry. We need a big whiteboard for this. I think she must have been in her room eating when he went in, then went to the kitchen. Well, they probably have that, Kathleen Bell. That hasn't been released to us. That's all. If they have camera of BK going in and out, they definitely can differentiate that from the DoorDash. They'll do that at trial. What do you guys think about the positioning of Xana, though? God, stop with the green car, for fuck's sake. Because I'm picturing when Dylan walked by, if she saw Xana's feet, she may have thought she passed out, like just crashed on the floor. But then she also heard crying, right? She also heard crying.
At 4:17 a.m., 10 minutes after the suspect car turned in toward 1122 King Road, on that neighboring house picked up sounds, including what police described in charging papers as distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. Here are those sounds. Xana either dead or dying. The killer saw Ethan in bed, possibly.
Okay, yeah. So her head would have been near this wall. The pillows right now are on the wall that had the blood. The pillows on the wall is the wall that was outside that had the blood. Dylan said her feet were towards the hall and her head was towards the wall. There we go. It is, Robot. It's really scary. And I'm sure they have more.
Passed out after a night of drinking, and with one swift blow of the knife, blood spatter shows, the killer struck an artery.
So that was how Ethan was killed. One blow of the knife, according to the blood spatter, the killer struck Ethan's artery.
And according to our sources, the killer did something strange. He carved Ethan's lower legs. Carved is the specific word that was used.
Carved. I was thinking about this. That's what we say when we carve a pumpkin. That means that he dug the knife in and carved something out. Oh my God. Like carving a damn pumpkin. You literally take whatever's inside it out. You got to be a sick motherfucker to do this. God. He hated Ethan. He was mad. The Night Stalker carved victims too. Oh, God. It's horrible. Listen what happened to Ethan again, guys. And remember, Ethan's autopsy was in the PCA, the probable cause affidavit, except it was redacted. So along with the verbiage of the probable cause affidavit, you have to remember this autopsy was also attached to that. So the judge also saw Ethan's autopsy. And we don't know exactly what it was like. You also carve when you cut meat, carve a turkey. Yep. Oh, God.
Xana either dead or dying. The killer saw Ethan in bed, possibly passed out after a night of drinking, and with one swift blow of the knife, blood spatter shows, the killer struck an artery. And according to our sources, the killer did something strange. He carved Ethan's lower legs. Carved is the specific word that was used. It looked like the killer sat down after that, said an investigator.
It looked like the killer sat down after that.
Source, and left behind impressions in blood on a bedroom chair.
This is going to be an interesting part of the case to me. So I have no idea where the chair would have been located in Xana's room. That's one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to find some old videos of theirs and see if we can see where these things were placed, like where was the chair placed? 359 dynamite? Oh, Hellcat. It's absolutely horrible. K-bar knives? What do you mean they're not good for carving? They're killing knives. They're killing knives. So he sat down and left an impression in blood. Well, we heard early on that about Ethan's legs. It was leaked out early on. The bloody ass print is going to be what? What is... I wonder how they're going to use that. Big girl, I don't think he expected 4, right? And he probably didn't expect them to fight back. Maybe thought they were all sleeping. I don't think he was prepared for the fight that ensued, right? Sherry, baby, Sherry, thank you for your $15 tip.
Sherry has supported the stream using J4J Live.
Thank you, Sherry. And you, too, can send a tip the exact way that Sherry did. The mods will put the link in the chat. Thank you. Zur, thank you for your super sticker. Hello, beautiful. You're going to try to go, Hellcat? I do, Kathleen, without a doubt. You think Ethan was a surprise? I think Kaylee being in Maddie's room was a surprise. So that's 2 people that we don't think were really meant to be killed. I don't, anyways. Thank you, Jams. And thank you again, Sherry.
But as he left the bedroom, intending to exit through the same kitchen door where he entered, the killer was surprised again by another roommate. Dylan Mortensen had heard various unexplained noises that night, and at that moment opened her bedroom door. After hearing a noise she said she thought was crying coming from Santa's room, according to a police affidavit.
This part always bothers me. So this is where she heard the crying, right? She hears crying, she opens the door again, and there's BK. Lisa Rose, this right here is why we love you, Jay. Thank you, Lisa. 21 months.
For making it happen. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you for your long-standing support.
For making it happen.
Sophia gifted another membership. Lindsay Hendricks, welcome.
Thank you.
Enjoy your membership, Lindsay. I think he had been planning this for years. I think he's been wanting to do this for a while. Well, plus Kaylee fought back too, right? So he had a fight with Kaylee. He had a fight with Xana. And he was exhausted. Plus he stabbed to death 4 people. Holy shit, man.
While later in charging papers, police said Dylan told them she heard a male voice say something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and saw a male in black clothing and a mask.
See, I don't like the order they're putting this in. Because at what point did he say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you"? When was that? You know what I mean? Did she hear that after the attack? Like, after he killed them, he said, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." What? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Right, Kathleen. She thought that they were playing with the dog, horsing around and being loud, right?
Voice say something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and saw a male in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward.
Really? I mean, Angie, have you watched all of the evidence? Have you read all of the documents? He was covered head to toe. There was nowhere to scratch. He was covered. Where did you want him to scratch?
Towards her. She said he was 5 feet 10 or taller, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. She said the male walked past her as she stood in a frozen shock phase. At 4:20 a.m., his suspect vehicle blonde as it burst back into the range of that security camera. At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection, turned right, and disappeared from view.
Okay, so he leaves at 4:20. I think so too, Gigi. Maybe that was Ethan saying that. Yeah, I don't know if they got the timeline right on that one. Right, that's what I was picturing, PKC. Like, that was when he wanted Xana to calm down. Don't worry, I'm going to help you. Guess what, Joey? I have a big knife right here in my kitchen. Does that mean I did it? Does that mean I could have done it? I don't think Bethany strived her whole life to kill and get away with it. The DNA came from the underside of a snap. I mean, I guess she could have tried to yank on the eyebrows. I mean, I don't know what you guys expected. He planned this. He knew how to avoid defensive wounds. He's not dumb. He studied this. 419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. No. So Dylan immediately, this is what I found interesting. Before he's even pulling off, Dylan is trying to call the roommates. Because he pulled off, what does it say? 420-46. And starting at 419, Dylan's calling. So she's calling when he's getting in his car and leaving. That is fucking chilling, man.
At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection, turned right, and disappeared from view.
419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. She called all of them. She tried to call all of them. So if she tried to call Bethany, was Bethany sleeping? Did she wake up Bethany? Because Bethany's way down on the bottom floor. Well, he was already getting in his car. She started calling at 419. He was pulling off at 420. So he was like literally leaving the house, getting in his car while she was already calling her roommates. All of them. She tried to call all of them. 419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. None of the calls are answered. 422 to 424 a.m. Dylan and Bethany exchange text messages. Dylan to Bethany. No one is answering. I'm really confused right now. Dylan to Kaylee. Kaylee, what's going on? Bethany, back to Dylan. Dude, what the fuck? Xana was wearing all black. Dylan to Bethany. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. Bethany to Dylan. Shut the fuck up, actually. Dylan to Bethany. Like he had something over his forehead and mouth. I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. Hey, Bethany Gina. To Dylan. So am I. Dylan, my phone is going to die. Fuck. Bethany, come to my room. Run down here. At 4:24 a.m., Dylan attempts to call Ethan Chapin, but the call goes unanswered. More texts follow. 4:24 a.m., Dylan to Bethany. I'm scared, though. 4:25 a.m., Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. 4:27 a.m., Dylan calls Kaylee. No answer. 4:28 a.m., Dylan calls Xana. No answer. 4:32 a.m., Dylan texts Kaylee. Please answer. Then we move into the next morning. So 4:27. Thank you so much, Maria. Remember, Ethan's autopsy took a minute. Yeah, it did. That's right. We knew there was something different, right? And I don't think it's ever been named how many times Kaylee was stabbed. Don't spread misinformation. You don't have her autopsy. Stop it. So at 4:27 a.m., Dylan calls Kaylee. No answer. 4:28, Dylan calls. Wait, hold on. Let's listen to that part again. 4:28 a.m., Dylan calls Xana. No answer. 4:32 a.m., Dylan texts Kaylee. Please answer. So she's frantically calling all them, hoping one of them will pick up or answer and be like, oh, okay, it's not anything bad. Your mind's not gonna go to a quadruple murder. Then we stop it, Joey. Stop it, Joey. You're pushing the line, Joey. You're not gonna come here and accuse Ethan's best friend. You're not. Watch your line, because I do have a line I draw here. I'm sure it is, Trixie. I kind of just threw this together just for timeline purposes. I want to put together a more extensive one. This is just something I threw together. We move into the next morning.
8 a.m., 28 minutes after the white car.
Okay, so now we're kind of going back in time a little bit. 4:48 a.m. So Bryan pulls out at 4:20, or suspect vehicle 1 pulls out at 4:20. And then at 4:48 a.m., Bryan's phone pings here.
Car left King Road. FBI records show a cell phone turned on south of Moscow and hit a cell tower that covered an area west of Blaine, Idaho. A phone that records show was tied to Bryan Kohberger.
So his phone goes off in Pullman. His phone goes off. The murders happen. And then, boom, his phone goes on a half an hour later, south of Moscow. It really doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this. Oh, that's right. He went to Blaine, and then he drove all around just gazing because it's such a different view of the stars from different cities.
The signal moved west, and 32 minutes later at 5:20 a.m., the phone hit a tower near Johnson, Washington, until finally at 5:39 a.m., the phone connected to a tower covering the west side of Pullman, Washington. And it was in Pullman, records obtained by Dateline show, that a call was made from that phone linked to Bryan Kohberger using a tower not far from his apartment. The time was 6:17 a.m.
So he gets home. He goes out stargazing some more all around Blaine, Johnson, Idaho. He's out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I'm sure there's tons more texts and calls, right? I don't know, Brendan. I don't know. We don't know the extent of the injuries. Could be. We don't know what he did. He could have SA'd. We just don't know. Right. So on a cloudy night, he's going out. He's stargazing in random places just for the hell of it because he's a night owl. Sounds legit.
If you say Ferris Bueller, you lose a testicle.
So then he gets back to Pullman. Yeah, cloud gazing. So he gets back to Pullman, and at 6:17, he calls Daddy Kohberger. But it's not the only time he calls Daddy Kohberger.
Nearly 2 hours after the killer sped away from the murder scene. The call lasted 36 minutes. 2. A phone in Pennsylvania registered to Bryan Kohberger's father. It appears that several family phones, including his mother's, are on the same account.
I don't know why that matters if they're all in the same account. I mean, my son's on my account, but I don't know why they cleared that up, but okay.
In fact, records show that call was the first of 3 calls Kohberger made to the phone registered to his father that morning. 7:33 hours after the murders, Bethany was awake and calling her dad.
I don't know if they got this wrong. Did Bethany call home too? I thought it was Dylan calling her dad. He calls the phone on his dad's account. Mom, dad, 2 sisters, 3 calls to that account. No, he said 3 calls to his dad's phone. He just said all of the family are on the same account. He called his dad 3 times. 3 times that morning. Right? A lot of people have said laundry vibes. Does his dad know? Did his dad know? I don't know. Was he trying to use an alibi? Like, oh, I talked to Bryan that morning. I don't know what good that would do, but I think so. Green-eyed PI, Wah State Park. That's where Ted Bundy went. And we know now that he dressed up like Ted Bundy. I called this fucking 2 years ago. The dude really isn't that smart. I mean, for those of us that follow true crime for a long time, we can kind of pick up on different things that he's done. Different things that mimic other things. It's really not like that outlandish to think that he's mimicked other killers and tried to not make the mistakes they made.
His father that morning. 7:33 hours after the murders, Bethany was awake and calling her dad. By 8:05 a.m., Dylan was at least briefly back on Instagram. And at times throughout the morning, she continued to reach out to her roommates by text and on social media apps. Still, no answer. Just after 9 a.m., records show Bryan Kohberger's phone was briefly back in Moscow and not far from the crime scene for about 9 minutes.
So he came back to the area for about 9 minutes. Now, what's interesting about this is I told you guys the other day about the small brain that was found on Ethan's frat house dumpster that morning. There was a father who was dropping off his son back for the weekend at the frat house. And the father, this was at 11:30 a.m. on the 13th, on Sunday the 13th. The father found a small brain on top of the dumpster at the frat house where Ethan lived. Now we know Bryan was back in the area at 9 something. Did he drop off a brain? Well, my question is how often, see, it's great that we know that he called his dad that morning, but what I want to know, did he call his dad every morning? Was this out of character? Laura, I've thought that too. Kind of intermingling all these different crimes. Or did he realize he had dropped the knife sheath and wanted to see if he could retrieve it? Or was he revisiting the crime scene to see the hoopla of all the police? And first responders? Was he wanting to see that live footage, not footage, but did he want to see it in person?
Before returning to his apartment, where at 10:31 a.m. he took this selfie in his bathroom mirror.
So he was in Moscow at 9, and then at 10:31, he must have just showered and took this picture. Was he worried someone lived? I don't know. You do, Ginger Root? You think he messed with that, put the undies in the cup holder? Bryan Kohberger called his dad for help. For help with what, Joey? He didn't do nothing. Why would he call his dad? You think he wanted to see the aftermath? No, it was a small brain, like an animal brain. I think he was shitting bricks because the sheath was missing. Yeah, it was like a small brain, like an animal. And there were dead animals found in the police blotter in the weeks and months leading up to the murders. There were more dead animals than just the dog. There was, I think, a rabbit. There was rats. I think they were taken from like the school lab or something. Hey, Global. I think he called his dad because he was in a good mood and wanted to talk. Maybe he was high on adrenaline. But he was there for 9 minutes. So did he sit there and go, oh, should I go in? "11:39 a.m. Dylan exchanges texts with her father. The contents of those texts are unknown. 11:50 a.m. Dylan receives a text from Jay. It says, bro. 10:50 a.m. So she got a text at 10:50 a.m. that said, bro, from someone that starts with a J. Was this picked before he drove to Lewiston or after? Oh, Lewiston is left out of this, isn't it, Laura? He went to Lewiston after the shower. Yep, he went to Lewiston afterwards. Dylan calls EA. 10:51. Oh my God, what if he went in? I guess we don't know, Diana. I guess he could have. We just don't know. Oh God. Bro or be right over? Oh, maybe be right over. Maybe his dad handles him in his mental illness. Dexter's that maybe? Cricket, I have no idea. I have the police report. I don't have the video, but could be right over. Well, I mean, to be fair, Eli, they have footage of him the night before, so why wouldn't they have footage of him the morning of? Obviously, this light bulb picked him up that morning. I don't know anything about his bank of records, but 1 a.m. Dylan receives another text from Jay.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay.
Welcome, Maria.
And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the White, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
Green-eyed, that could be.
Tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah.
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what
That's Maddie Mogan's car.
happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Why is he wearing earbuds in the selfie? Thank you, Nicole G, for 8 months. I appreciate your support. My scratcher dealer. Why is he wearing earbuds? Maybe he's listening to his Britney Spears slowed down criminal song because he's a weirdo.
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to. She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
How old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one
Okay.
of them.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay. Sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
How come there's no... I know. I understand him, like, trying to protect the girls. But why didn't he say, like, there's more than one? Or, like, I mean, he really held it together. I'm shocked. I mean, I guess that could be the shock, right? It could be the shock. They don't want to believe they're dead. They don't want to believe it's a stabbing. Like, it's the furthest thing from their mind. Right. They can't process it's a murder. They can't comprehend that. That has not hit them, that it's a murder. I mean, this actually makes me want to throw up.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Hello?
Okay.
And I think that he started throwing up, if I'm not mistaken. I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. He could have seen Ethan's legs, for God's sakes. Maybe he couldn't even get the words out. Maybe how do you say, oh my God, his legs are torn out? I mean, like, how do you get those words out? It's just all very shocking. And I'm not gonna judge them. But it is crazy to hear the response.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again?
Can someone please get rid of Tony? You're not going to call her names like that. Get a life, Tony. Go pick on someone your own size. Don't come in here picking on a 19-year-old little girl. Weirdo.
There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think so. Do you have a
Did you hear that?
I think so. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m. 49 seconds, November 13, 2022.
Dylan receives another text from Jay and a vandal alert at 1:04 p.m. Okay, so that's pretty much the timeline that I threw together. It's absolutely shocking to me that this even still happened. I'm still ugh. I just think, Robat, that if you saw your friend in that condition, I don't know how you would even get the words out. Two friends, right? They're both, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine. It would be very scary. Liberty, that's really scary. Hey, Danielle. We are taught to stay calm. Well, I mean, you have to remember that this dispatch gets a lot of college calls. They take WSU and University of Idaho calls. It's all going to one dispatch. So they get a lot of drunk people, right? And then this phone is being passed around. She's trying to figure out what's going on. However, that may be a smoking gun because BK was Googling the Moscow murders before they called 911. So it may be a blessing in disguise. Right. It's amazing when adrenaline kicks in what you will do to protect yourself and protect those around you. Be right over is probably bro. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Diana. But you got to remember, Princess Scary, that they had several calls. They were underage drinking. They were threatened that it was going to be reported to their sorority. So they're going to be more hesitant, especially being the younger girls, the littles, if you will. And they don't want to get in trouble. I agree, Maria. Toast. Cooked. But I'm planning to do an open panel. I've invited Body Movin' to come up for a discussion about the Idaho 4. We're going to be planning that this week, hopefully. So that'll be a good thing to tune in and listen to. Bouncing around ideas, remembering things we didn't remember. I think that'll be a good time. So make sure that you are subscribed for that. And I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Please leave your comments in the comment section, whether you agree or disagree, but please be respectful. Please be respectful. Catfish, I felt the same way until I heard that could be the smoking gun. That perhaps that could be something that gets him where he can't explain that away, right? What time did he Google? Chris, I can't remember off the top of my head. Does anybody in chat remember? Yeah, I don't either, Kathleen. Does anybody remember what time he Googled? Yeah, just for you. He Googled Moscow murders before the 911 call was made. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you before you guys go. Remember we were talking about how he Googled and he brought to our attention in the early hearings the Google Trends? So you can go to Google Trends. Okay, and I'm going to put in Bryan Kohberger. Okay. And then it'll show you, hang on, let me close out. I want to show you guys this. This is so interesting that he did this. And he totally did it on purpose. So if you look here and you go to past 5 years. Look. Wait, hold on. Custom range. Let's go from, what was this, 2022? Let's go from 4/12 to 11/11/2022 and see how many times his name was Googled. Look, this dum-dum. Look at 95 times. Look at over 100 times. Look at this shit. August 13th or August 12th. Hold on. Can I zoom this in somehow? Let's see where this starts. August 11th, 0. August 12th, he Googled it 95 times. I think 9 was when he drove by. So he wanted to make it look like someone else was Googling him, right, to set him up. And if you recall, the 16th is when he got pulled over and detained, and we haven't seen that. It was either the 13th or the 16th. Okay, and then we go notes, no times. Then we come back here to August the 22nd, and he's got over 100. Okay, so then if we go, Oh, it won't show me the area. Shit, because there's not enough data. But this shows you right here. Nobody was Googling him. Look, October, September, but they only Googled him in August, right around the time he had that interaction with the police. The pool parties were in June. So he did this in August. And then, okay, so if we try this, let's go Maddie Mogan. On June the 29th, when did they start following Kohberger? On June the 29th, Maddie Mogan was Googled over 100 times. June 29th. Can you imagine putting all of this fuck shit together? August 21st was traffic stop. Okay. I wonder if that's the first time he saw Maddie Mogan and he Googled her and then found her socials. All right, let's do Madison Mogan. Nope, he put Maddie. Interesting. Okay, so let's do Kaylee Gonsalves. No searches for Kaylee in that time frame. Let's do Xana Kernodle. Nothing for Xana in that time frame. Interesting. Let's do Ethan Chapin. Oh, look at here. May 20th of 2022, Ethan Chapin was Googled 100 times. April 28th, 2022, Ethan Chapin was Googled 64 times. Catfish, I think he wanted to commit the perfect crime and get away with it. These aren't docs. This is Google Trends. Anybody can do this. Let's look up Dylan Mortensen. Nothing for Dylan. And let's do Bethany Funk. Nothing. But if I try their social media, I don't know their social media handles, so I can't do that. But let's go 1122 King Road. That was not searched either. That's interesting. Moscow murders. King Road murders. Wait. What am I doing? I got to make this date different. Let's go after the murders. Here we'll go to the 16th. November 16th. Let's see. What was the search term he used? Was it King Road murders? Do you think they deleted that? Did Bryan think Ethan was Maddie's? I don't know. Idaho 4. Okay, that's weird. What the fuck? Why would Idaho 4 be Googled? On the 12th, Idaho 4 was Googled 4 times. Oh, God, Ramsland. I cannot. That's a good one, though, Lindsay. So this is the states that Idaho 4 was Googled from. Most of them Idaho. And then these surrounding states. Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Washington. But why would they be Googled like that? Okay. Catherine But she's been on shows, so people Google her. Oh. September 1st of 2022, she had 100 hits. What the heck? Just that one day. This is just Ramsland. 82 times on May 31st. 78 times on 2022 and on September 1st, and then November 5th over 100. Idaho, you thought it was Idaho murders. Let's try that. Oh, Lord have mercy. August 11th, 2022, there were 2 searches. And then November 14th, there were 29 searches. November 13th, 0. I don't see any for Idaho murders. I see it back here on August 11th, but it says 0. So I don't know. Try November 13th, 2022. Why would you Google the date? But look it's been Googled. Starting in May. 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. All right, so here we go. This is 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. October 19th, 1122 was Googled over 100 times. Their address. And then again, November 14th. That was after the murders, though. That was after everybody found out. But their address was Googled a lot on the 19th. Why State Park. Okay. Why. How do you spell it? Why State Park. Yeah, May 23rd of 2022. Hey, Alabama. Happy post Mother's Day. Okay. Why Park Bundy. Nothing. Ted Bundy. Here's Ted Bundy. Small searches until September 25th. And then up here, God, what date is this? October 6th. He was Googled a lot. And then look at it, goes back down. Let's go a little further. Let's go. I think a lot of people started Googling him after the murders because they compared it. So let's see how that trend goes up. Let's change November to December. See, look at that. Look at that spike. This is from March 13th, 2022 to December 16th of 2022 for Ted Bundy. October 21st was the attack on Buddy the dog. Wow. Look at that spike, though. That's pretty wild. Thank you, Alabama. Now, let's see after the arrest. I bet you this Bundy thing picks up because people were comparing him. Let's go to February of 2023 and see how much it spikes with the general public searching it up. Look, there was a jump, but not like here. Not like here. And if you look, Idaho and Utah are the biggest states Googling that. Ted Bundy, Bryan Kohberger. Hey, Syndicane, let's look up Brent Kopaka. He was not Googled until later, towards December. That's interesting. Hey, Cinda, good to see you. What else do you guys want me to look up? Wait, let's do this. Dog skinned Idaho. So the dog was, okay. So we looked up that spiked after the murders. Interesting. Oh, K-bar. K-bar knife. So back in May 1st through 7th, May 29th through June the 4th, July 6th through July 2nd, July 17th through 23rd, August 7th through 13th, and then nothing again until October 2nd through 8th. And then, of course, after the murders, a huge spike, over 100. Hey, John. K-bar knife, Amazon. Not until after the murders. What was that called? The Mad Greek? Moscow, Idaho? Nope. Don't see anything until after the murders for that. I'll put the Mad Greek, Idaho. Nope. Nothing until after for that. I just had a thought. Why did he butcher Ethan's legs to disable him, then killed Xana in front of him? Xana had defensive wounds. Didn't her dad say she had to fight? Do you think that's what happened? Because didn't he say, don't worry, I'm here to help you? They mentioned on Dateline that the feds got the okay to access the MyHeritage database as a matter of public safety. While Ellie was saying, yeah, well, Cinda, the FBI can do whatever they want. No one answers to the FBI. Or, I mean, you know what I'm saying? No one questions the FBI. They do what they want. They use databases that people sign off on. And there ain't a damn thing we can do about it. Oh, I got one more thing to show you. Knife killings. Let's go back to YouTube for a sec. I don't know if a lot of you guys saw this video, so I want to show it to you really quick. Yeah, we got a letter. This is Steve Gonsalves the other night after Dateline. Listen to this, guys. We'll talk about this more in a later stream, but I wanted to put this seed out there for you guys to start thinking about. I think you're right, Green-Eyed. Hey, Cremo. I hope you're hanging in there, dude. Okay, take a listen.
Yeah, we got a letter, and it had a phone number in there, and we called this individual, and he said he had been interviewed by Bryan, and he got the sense that Bryan was getting off on his story, and his story was basically he'd listen to a police scanner, wait for somebody to call the police on a domestic violence type thing, and then the male would be arrested, and then he would go into those neighborhoods, and that would be the house that he would rob. So he said that Bryan seemed to enjoy his story, and he said that he had some kind of, he felt like he started enjoying certain aspects of his story where he would talk about drunk females passed out, and he basically said, I could have done anything. I was just going for jewelry, going for money, going for whatever he was. But Bryan would call him back repeatedly and want to know more details on that story.
So someone actually...
Yeah, we got a...
So someone wrote them a letter with a phone number. They called the guy. And this guy said, I answered this survey. So if you think about this guy's crime, listening to a scanner, then robbing a home, think about BK initiating a scanner call. Did he initiate these calls? Yeah, it was the guy. Yes, it was definitely Green Eyed. It was the survey from Reddit. Absolutely. But he kept calling and asking him more questions because because the guy got caught. Bryan Kohberger didn't want to get caught. So he wanted to study what were the mistakes made. What kind of mistakes did this guy make that got him caught? Because I don't want to do that same thing. I wonder if that's how they discovered the survey. Possibly, Robat. Listen again to this clip.
Yeah, we got a letter, and it had a phone number in there, and we called this individual, and he said he had been interviewed by Bryan, and he got the sense that Bryan was getting off on his story, and his story was basically he'd listen to a police scanner, wait for somebody to call the police on a domestic violence type thing, and then the male would be arrested, and then he would go into those neighborhoods, and that would be the house that he would rob. So he said that Bryan seemed to enjoy his story, and he said that he had some kind of, he felt like he started enjoying certain aspects of his story where he would talk about drunk females passed out, and he basically said, I could have done anything. I was just going for jewelry.
Okay, so that matches up with the evidence of Bryan Kohberger's Google searches about girls drunk, and this is like pornography searches, drunk, passed out. What was the other one?
Going for money, going for whatever he was. But Bryan would call him back repeatedly and want to know more details on that story.
That's effed up. So there's a lot coming out, guys. I know I said I was going to end this before, but there's so many little nuggets that are putting these pieces together. So I'm really enjoying digging into this case. I don't know. Uninvited, it'll be interesting. I can't wait for this trial so we can see everything. All right, you guys, I am seriously going to end it now. I will see you guys soon. We're going to schedule, like I said, the panel with Body Movin', and whoever else would like to come up and throw their 2 cents in this case. The sound is messed up. My sound? All right, guys, I'm out. Let's run our credits. I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Hit that like button and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell for all notifications so you are notified when I hit that live button. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream or video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my latest content. Want to take it a step further?
Bring it all in.
And join our community clickers by becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You'll get exclusive access to our Discord server, special channel perks, and much more. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Click. It's real easy, man.